The use of bronze and the emergence of the city-state. People started using bronze in Mesopotamia around 3500 BC. Tribes used bronze weapons during war to aggressively occupy land and expand territory. During this process, the city-state emerged. In cities, people belonged to different classes such as nobility, priests, warriors, farmers, and slaves. These city-states were also dynamically involved in trading. In the meantime, several alphabets were invented to record important events and contributed to the rapid development of human civilizations. Ancient civilizations were born near rivers in Mesopotamia, in regions by the Nile River, the Indus River, the Yellow River, and so on. All of these regions had perfect conditions for farming because they were characterized by warm climates and ample water supply.
Why did only the Chinese civilization last among the world's 4 major civilizations? The ancient civilization of mankind began in the basins of large rivers, such as the Tigris and Euphrates Rivers, the Nile River, the Indus River, and the Huanghe River. As the population flowed into fertile land around these rivers, ancient civilizations developed rapidly. However, as temperatures rose sharply from 2000 BC, desertification progressed in the Tigris, Euphrates, Nile, and Indus basins, and people began to disperse. Desertification also progressed in the north of the Huanghe River basin. However, the west side of the Huanghe River is a plateau and mountain range, the south side is a subtropical rainforest, and the east side is the sea. As a result, China was less affected by climate change and less invaded from outside. Thanks to the geographical environment, China was able to continue its civilization.
Mesopotamian civilization blooms by the rivers of Tigris and Euphrates. Agriculture started and developed early on in the Mesopotamia region because, situated within the Tigris-Euphrates river system, the area had fertile soil. Around 3500 BC, the Sumerians established the first city-state in the history of mankind. They studied the movement of the celestial bodies to develop astrology and a lunar calendar, used the sexagesimal system, and left written records by carving wedge-shaped marks called cuneiform onto clay tables. They built huge temple towers called ziggurats in their city-states as well. The Sumerian kings established powerful theocracy because they were considered agents of their gods. The Mesopotamia area had dynamic trading activities because it was open in all 4 directions, but this also made it subject to constant invasions by other ethnic groups. Therefore, a secure life mattered more than the world after death to the Mesopotamians. The Babylonian Empire, founded by the Amur, began its rise to power after King Hammurabi, whose feats included the unification of the entire Mesopotamian region and the enactment of a set of laws, among many others, during his reign in the 18th century BC. The Babylonian Empire quickly declined after the death of King Hammurabi until it fell into the hands of the Hittites, who were armed with iron weapons.
What is the story behind the Code of Hammurabi? In the Hammurabi's Code, there is a sculpture of King Hammurabi who was handed a code from the deity of the sun. As the provisions of the Hammurabi Code are very strict, they basically follow the principle of retaliation, with the punishment differing according to status. 195. If a son should strike his father, his hands shall be hewn off. 196. If a man put out the eye of a nobleman, his eye shall be put out. 198. If a nobleman put out the eye of a freedman, he shall pay 1 mina of silver.
Egyptian civilization, a gift from the Nile River. Many city-states were established along the Nile River in Egypt because the river's annual flooding ensured fertile soil for growing crops. The first pharaoh of Egypt solidified Egypt into a single kingdom about 3000 BC. And the kingdom remained unified as it wound its way through the periods of the Old, Middle, and New Kingdoms. Surrounded mostly by deserts and oceans, this closed area was rarely invaded by other ethnic groups. Egyptians called their kings pharaoh because they believed that their kings were the sons of Ra, the ancient Egyptian deity of the sun. In life, the Egyptian pharaohs had absolute authority while being treated like gods. The ancient Egyptians served many gods, including the deity of the sun. They also made mummies of dead bodies and kept a book called Book of the Dead because they believed in the afterlife. They created records in hieroglyphic writing on papyrus as well. They used a decimal numerical system and solar calendar and were able to develop and advance astronomy, surveying techniques, and geometry while trying to predict when the Nile was going to flood and manage agricultural land. They also advanced medical science through the mummification process.
Was Tutankhamun cursing the man who excavated his grave? A pharaoh's coffin usually reads, "Curse those who interfere with the well-being of the dead." But the coffin of Tutankhamun's 12th king of the 18th dynasty of Egypt said, "Blessed are those who make known the king's name." However, people involved in the excavation of his tomb suffered mysterious deaths one after another, and people began to call it the Curse of Tutankhamun. Ancient virus rumors, undiscovered disease rumors, and unknown poison rumors have been raised about the curse, but no conclusions have been made so far. Why did the Mesopotamians and Egyptians have different worldviews? The Mesopotamian region was highly open to immigrants because of its open terrain. The Mesopotamians valued their present life because they thought that their present life would end. On the other hand, the region of Egypt is a closed terrain, surrounded by desert and sea, so it was hardly ever invaded by immigrants. Due to maintaining a stable state for extended periods, Egyptians became interested in the afterlife. Epic of Gilgamesh from Mesopotamia. Gilgamesh, the hero of the demigods, wandered the wilderness in search of eternal life. A woman, seeing the weary Gilgamesh, told him,
Gilgamesh, you will never find eternal life. When the gods made humans, they also attached death to humans. But only life was left for them to take care of. Satisfy your hunger with good food. Enjoy dancing day and night. Feast and rejoice. Give birth to a child who will hold your hand and hold your wife in your arms, because this is also human destiny.
Egyptian Book of the Dead and Scarabs. The ancient Egyptians believed that when a person died, he was judged before Osiris, the god of the underworld. When the heart is placed on a scale with the feather of truth, if the feather is heavier, it is considered innocent and enters the kingdom of Osiris. On the other hand, if the heart is heavier, it is considered sinful and the heart is eaten by a monster named Amut. At this time, the heart of the dead could open its mouth and confess sins to the gods, so the Egyptians made an amulet called a scarab and placed it on the heart of the dead.